Welcome back to Cash and Sass, the podcast where we ditch the shame, talk real numbers, and build bold, bankable wealth without sacrificing who we are. I'm your host, Lisa Marie, fractional CFO, wealth mentor, and the sassy wealth queen behind Transcendent Wealth Company. If you're ready to scale with strategy, own your power, and finally feel wealthy in every sense of the word, you're in the right place. Today's guest brings a blend of experience, faith, and purpose that I know you're going to love. Rich Kozak spent decades as a global branding consultant before walking away from guaranteed income to serve heart-centered entrepreneurs. Love heart-centered entrepreneurs. Now he helps business owners build brands rooted in clarity, service, and calling, turning impact into income and vision into legacy. This conversation is about clarity, courage, and calling, how aligning your brand and purpose can transform not only your business, but your wealth, peace, and faith. All right, let's get into it, as I always say, because we know this is what we're going to do, right? So we're just going to dive in. You've had a powerful corporate branding career and walked away from it. Why? And what made you take that leap?
First of all, thank you for that tremendous introduction. You really get it. You've obviously done your homework, and I've heard what you've done in other podcasts. So thank you for doing it here.
You're welcome.
Marvelously said. I'll take you in right into the moment. Okay, 3:16 a.m. I'm sitting in my office on the 9th floor of an office building that looks right up the Malibu coast at the end of Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. Gorgeous palm trees all the way. It's 3:16 in the morning. I know I have to leave in time to get to my car, get out of there, drive home, shave, shower, put on a new suit, nice tie, and drive again get to the board room where I'm going to stand up at this $14 billion company and say, gentlemen and ladies, my name is Rich Kozak. I'm from Young Company, and I'm here to talk about the vision we see for the perception you get to create among your most important target clients that will help you succeed at your business strategy. And I'm shaving, looking in the mirror. I'm overweight. I'm doing an all-nighter. And I said to myself, I'm killing myself here. I love it. I love this job. I'm addicted to it. I was doing an all-nighter. It's like, there's nobody else there. I was the only one who was there. I'm 50 years old. And I changed my prayer. Lord, I'm going to resign this addictive career to reshape my life. Show me what you want me to do. I'm ready. That was the moment. Now, 6 months later, I officially left, but I planned it with the fellow who owned it, who was a friend of mine. We've been together for 17 and a half years. So I didn't think it was why I was really here, to get it right, to help the semiconductor company launch the new chipset for the next version of disk drives. Pick a client, it was all business to business, even being on global brand teams in Germany to help an ophthalmological test equipment manufacturer penetrate the United States where there are different laws selling medical equipment. It is fascinating. I have adult ADD. I love language. So every phone call is a different industry. I was absolutely loving it. But I was living somebody else's dream, and not living my faith. And I decided it was time because I just felt it wasn't going to turn out well, So I've been defining and languaging brands for 49 years. I've also been married for 49 years and 54 Valentine's Days. And that was on my mind. If I toast out with a heart attack because I'm overweight and I'm doing all that, it's like I leave my 2 beautiful sons and my awesome wife who has stood by me the entire time without me. It's like, that doesn't look good. That's not good. So I'm like, I got to get this in my hands here. So I started putting it in God's hands, and it took a while. I got sidetracked again with things I got busy at, which will lead us into some financial discussions because real estate was great until it wasn't. So it's like, lead us into a lot of discussions today. But that was the moment, and that's why I left.
And how did following your calling lead to more abundance? Because even when it didn't make sense on paper.
Well, let's unwrap the word abundance. I mean, it says in the book I read every day, we're here to live and live abundantly. It's kind of like the concept of legacy. You create legacy. It's not something you leave, it's something you create. You create abundance. There can be an abundance of love. There can be an abundance of caring, an abundance of kindness, an abundance of resources, an abundance of giving, of whatever we have to give. There can be an abundance of significance. These are the things that all of my clients are dealing with. They know there's more, and there's more. I mean, we're all made by the same creator. And when we're born with unlimited power. And then we hold ourselves back and allow people to take our power or give it away. And we're born with gifts. All of us have the opportunity to make the most significant impact with the gifts we've been given. And when I looked in the mirror, I just felt like I wasn't on that track. So stepping from I'll use one of my clients. We created this. I was successful on paper, but I wasn't successful in my soul. And that abundance is really important. We're not
because it's
here.
about alignment. It's about alignment. Yeah.
We're not here to gather toys. We're here for why we're here. And we get to ask why we're here. We get to think about it. We get to focus on it or not. And if we go down rabbit holes or down dark alleys, it doesn't turn out well sometimes. Sometimes we don't even get back. And I knew enough to say this, I've had enough. Let's move on and shift the focus. So one of the first abundance was to live my faith, not just have it above my neck, but to have it drop to my heart and to do things, think things, say things, read things that have to do with me as being here for a reason. That's an abundance that many people, I'm going to say avoid. And that's a travesty, because how do you get to your most significant impact you were made to make? If you avoid it, you don't.
True. Very true. And I mean, it comes back to how I talk about we have to be in alignment with in different areas of our lives to truly create wealth. And you're talking about when you're out of alignment, it just doesn't feel right. You talk about clarity being the foundation of a brand. So how does clarity actually create cash flow?
That's an excellent question. And frankly, Lisa Marie, you are the one to ask it on this podcast. So congratulations. You're just nailing this. It's great. This is going to sound like we're going into the trees. It's probably because we're going into the trees.
The trees.
Okay, so we're going from 40,000 feet, which is clarity is the missing piece. If a brand doesn't have clarity baked into it, it falls flat. And it takes certain things for that clarity to be palpable. I'm not going to go into that. That's an entire class. However, one of the pieces of clarity, actually, I'll talk about the two that are the most common that's missing because they turn into money. The internal piece of clarity for a brand. And if you're listening to this episode, I'm talking to you personally. Whatever you do, the identity that you have in other people's minds, what they perceive about you is your brand. So we're talking about that perception. The internal piece of clarity that's missing is the focus on whom it's like asking your heart, whom do I clearly see impacting through the work that I do or the work that I want to do or the work that I'm going to do? Who is that? It's a type of person. Could be several different types. We take one at a time, but it comes from your heart and you really want to impact them. So for you want to help people become more financially, but you want to help people take the limits off what they do so they can step into their own abundance. It's like, and for everybody else, they have their own impacts that they clearly see making on a certain type of person and they really want to, okay, that clarity, if people don't take the time to ask their hearts and write down not only those types of people, but the impacts they clearly see making, and I mean that literally. It sounds rigorous. It's not difficult, but that piece is missing. And they talk to anybody and everybody, and they're not thinking about what's in the mind of the people they really want to impact the most so that they can share that language and those people will know that they really do understand them. That clarity is missing. Chances are they'll fall flat. The other piece of clarity that most brands, big and, big companies and individuals like solopreneurs just don't do well because they don't prepare for it, is the external clarity. They're speaking at, could be on Zoom, could be right in person, someone they know they can impact. We could call it whatever you want, right fit client, number one target, number 7 target audience, but you can impact that. And you listen and then you say, heard how you've described where you are and what you're going through. Here's what I see for you. The words after that paint a picture. And when that individual hears the clear picture you see for them, sometimes they don't even see it for themselves. But when you say, here's what I see for you, their antenna pop out. And what you say after that makes you a magnet, or you fall flat. Magnet turns into clients. Magnet turns into revenue. Magnet attracts them to your weekend retreat. Magnet has them buy your book. Magnet has them hire you as a coach. Magnet has them want to come on your podcast. It's the clarity of the picture. And if you mumble through it, guess what? Hit the trombones like, wow, you fall flat. Most brands fall flat. I'm going to say that again. You're listening to this. Most brands fall flat. Oh, that's nice. That's flat. Whoa, whoa. Wow. Look, I've got to go, but can I have your card? That's not fall flat. Okay.
Right.
There's a huge difference. And it starts in the heart, but it comes out as well-defined in language, unique language that transfers energy, positive, ongoing recognizability, consistency across the board. And always it's got to be congruent with your heart. You got those 4 things, you will be a magnet. Or if you don't, you'll fall flat. It's like, well, wait a minute. How do you know that? Because I've been doing it for 49 years. And look, you might as well take my word for it, because you haven't been doing it for 49 years. And most people most people think their brand is what they think it is. And we use the word brand as like, oh God, well, that's what we need is you got a book on brand. No, my book says, here's the 7 steps, do them. Don't leave any out. Your brand, it'll ensure your brand impacts people's lives in the world. Branding is steps. It's not, most people think whatever they think it is, but here's what it is. And you heard me say it before, but I'm going to be real clear. And this is just, we'll get it out of the way because it's like the elephant in the room. Your brand, if you're listening to this, your brand, whether you have an entity, a name, a company, or it's you personally, your brand is the perception in the mind of your most important people or it could be a business, people, individual whom you want to impact. And you clearly see those impacts. It's their perception. It's not what you think. It's not even what you say. It's what they perceive. And branding is shaping a consistent perception. You can't say this that one day and say something another day. You'll create confusion and misinformation. You are shaping, when you think about branding, what you're doing is you are shaping the perception in their minds. Don't worry about people, 30,000 miles away who love to pet giraffes. You don't worry about them. I mean, I'm sorry if giraffes is your business. I love giraffes. But your brand is the perception in the mind of those you most want to impact. You think about it that way. It shifts how you do things. It reframes how you see what you're doing. You'll never again say, well, we just need some leads. Bring the marketing guys. They know the words to use. you will put the brakes on before you ever do. Marketing, all the elements of marketing are just execution of an excellent branding strategy.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
different.
They're the execution of it. Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So, since we're right there, what's the biggest branding mistake that keeps most entrepreneurs broke or invisible?
The most common is inconsistency, because inconsistency, it not only can create confusion or misinformation. You're like, wait a minute, you do that? I thought you did that, that, but it breaks trust. Think about it on the other side. You're hiring somebody and they do something the first day really, really well. Then they change up how they do it the next day. And then they change it up again the next day. It's like, do you know what to expect from them? No, that's scary. You don't even trust them now. You're like, what's coming on day 4? Brands are that same way. You must be consistent across the board in all the ways the brand shows up. I want you to even think shows up means how people talk about it. The endorsements you get from people, the testimonials you get of how you affected their life. Your language, those characteristics you must get credit for, get to be baked into those, and you'll be consistent across the board. But if you're not consistent, the party's over.
Yeah. And it's kind of what I talked about a lot when I talk about the wealth codes and how we have to be in alignment. And that's being consistently in alignment across all of those 5 wealth codes. And y'all have heard me talk about this time and time again. And the 5 wealth codes are spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and financial. And when we're out of alignment in one of those areas, or not consistent in all of those areas of being in alignment, then it shifts what we're doing, and it affects how we make money. It affects us being able to bring in money and how we do with our cash flow. And it affects everything. And I think it's really important. Again, like I said, for us to be in alignment, which brings me my next thing, because I believe when we're in alignment, we attract money. We become a magnet. And so you even said that money is a magnifier.
Yeah.
And so I want you to explain for the listeners, what does that mean specifically for entrepreneurs? What do you mean when you say money as a magnifier?
It's difficult to literally change people's nature. If you take a person, and I am blessed to live in a world and be attracting heart-centered, impact-driven individuals to whom making their impact on others is often more important than the money that comes from it. They're very successful at it. Many of them come to me and they're already very successful financially, but they know there's more. So back to my comment, it's difficult to change the nature of a person. The person has the right values and the right mindset and the right heart. When they make more money, they just are bigger at what they really are. If somebody is basically a self-serving jerk, and we might all think of somebody we've met in the past, and you give them a lot of money, or they make a bunch of money, they get to be a bigger self-serving jerk. So money is a magnifier. It enables you
It
to
amplifies who we are
amplify
already.
what your
Mhm.
impact, but your impacts can be negative as well. It's kind of like growing up in a household and you say, oh, my dad always says this. I am never going to say that when I grow up, or there's my mom behaves this way. I love that. I want to be like her. It's like you see the things you definitely want to follow, the models you definitely want to emulate, and you also see the behaviors that you choose not to emulate. And so there are negative and positive impacts. And I am blessed to work with people who want to make positive impacts on others through all kinds of ways. Some are financial, some are lingual, some are they're educators, some are experts, some are authors, some are coaches, some run software integration companies, some are manufacturers. But their desire is to impact an industry or to impact types of individuals that they know they can bring value to their lives. So when those people learn that the steps of impact-driven branding get them to the money faster, they get to the magnifying faster too. It helps them be not only bigger contributors to those whom they serve, but bigger contributors to the world, because they will.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings me to the question I've actually been waiting to ask is because letting go of control is something that I've had to practice and learn. And I'm still what we call it learning and progress learner. Call it imperfectly perfect. I am still practicing. But you mentioned faith and then also letting go of control as keys to abundance. And so I want to know, how has that shaped your business journey? How can doing that shape someone else's? Because I think it's important, because I've had to learn also of letting go of control, because we think when we have control, we can actually direct it. And what actually happens is when we're trying to keep the control, we're actually stopping, in my opinion, the flow of what could actually be coming to us, because we're trying to control the outcome and something better could actually be waiting for us.
Yeah. Thank you for your testimony. Everybody give her a round of applause. Those getting together with other control freaks has been doing you a lot of good. What have you been doing to be in process? Okay.
It's others who have said, "Okay, look, this is you've got to learn." It's having coach and mentors being able to recognize that I have a thing about control.
Well, we teach what we need. Okay. That's one of the
Mhm.
laws of the universe. Okay. So, first of all, I'll have my own testimony moment. Well, I was executive vice president of a high-tech ad agency, and at one point we had 24 people there. When you hand a piece of film to a magazine to run an ad and there's a typo in the ad, this does not turn out well. So you get really minute at your watching details. You literally, somebody puts it in front of you and says, "What do you think of this?" And you go, "There's a typo right there." I mean, it's unbelievable. Okay. So I come from a place where if you want it done right, do it yourself and make sure you get into it. Proof it yourself. They said they proofed already. You proof it. Kind of a control oriented, right? Because to make sure it turns out right and the client gets the experience you want them to get. And I think it is my nature to be a bit of a control freak. So I understand that truly. When I left my addictive job and said, "Lord, show me what you want me to do, I'm ready," part of the process became I literally and I realize you don't think this is a part of your question, but it's part of my answer. I chose, because of a certain experience I had to say, I am going to restart my faith as if I were a brand new Christian. And how would I do that? Well, the differences in behavior were I began reading, let's just say, the same book every morning. But it wasn't with a checklist. Yeah, check. Yeah. I have read this book, 16 times this year. It was reading it, but praying first, saying, "Lord, help land on my heart what you want me to hear. Your will be done. Show me what you want me to do." And my prayer every morning still, Lisa Marie, is, "Lord, put in front of me those people whose lives or businesses you want me to impact with this gift you've given me, and give me the eyes and ears and the wisdom to know who they are." And I'm telling you, who shows up is not up to me. I used to think I had to go to networking events and shake hands and, and impress people and speak and. I get to show up. That's why I'm here with you. So people hear my voice and hear my heart and know that there's somebody out there that says they do branding, but doesn't sound like the branding you're used to. It's like, when you're doing praise Gods all day and people are stepping to their purpose, like, is that branding? Look, branding becomes God's work when you start with the impacts that are in your heart. That's where they came from in the first place. And you might not have paid attention to your skills or to your, to the power you were given. But if you have a desire to make impacts, that came from, you didn't make that up. So it's God's work. Anyway, so who's in control? Look, the book I read every morning says man makes plans and God, God makes it, brings on the results. It's like we think we're in control, but we're not. We didn't create ourselves. So acknowledging and asking and seeking and focusing on the impacts you can make will get you to them faster. It's just most people don't know, how to get from A to M. And it's steps to get the, everything from your heart into the mouth of your desired brand so that whatever you say or do is aligned with those impacts that you clearly see making when you thrive. What? Well, that's,
Yeah.
that's branding. Well, okay. Call what you want. But
Well, I mean, that's what we were going to go into was my next question is most people see branding as marketing, right? And, you say it's about legacy. So I want us to go into what's the difference?
well, I give it to you in one sentence, and I'll tell you who's talking. I sat on the board of directors of the American Marketing Association International for 4 years as the elected vice president of marketing and ran the national conference, the B2B conference, because it was business. I was vice president of business marketing. And I use one word to describe marketing, and you should too. It's execution. Your marketing, and I'm talking right to you as you listen to this, your marketing, when it's at its best, is the execution of an excellent branding strategy. Branding strategy meaning, who am I? What do we stand for? What's the key language? What's unique about us? What makes us outstanding? What are the impacts we clearly want to make on whom? All that clarity, most people don't take the time or don't have a process to do. They hunt and peck, or they only do some things. And if you just do some things, it doesn't turn out well. But all of those things will come together. The result is outstanding. And it's always outstanding because it's all there. So it's a surprise to most people. There might be more to your question that I missed. Ask me more if you want me to expand.
No, I mean, I think that's good. I think it comes down to, what we're wanting to leave as a legacy. And again, if you're not seeing it, when you look at the 5 wealth codes, and then I talk about the 3 money leaks, and remember, those 3 money leaks are awareness of values, attitude of abundance, and allocation of assets. And so you're talking about those things just in a different way of how it looks at the branding, which still affects how we make money, how we look at money, how we bring the money in. And when we're out of alignment and we're not doing you end up having a leak, and the leak can be in your branding. It could be in how you're seeing your branding because like you were saying, when we're not truly aligned in our branding, if we're just seeing it as marketing, then we're going to have a leak as far as how we're going to be making money. Right. And
Yeah.
so I think it's really important.
We think of advertisements you see on TV and we go, there's that stupid ad again. Why are they spending millions to have people say, there's that stupid ad again? Seriously. That's a very important question. So we might know somebody who say, he has a really good heart, but he's such a goofball. Nobody trusts him because he's always trying. It's like, is he going to step into his purpose? Chances are we won't. So here is a huge part and a different level of answer to your question. If you're listening to this right now, you've probably never even heard this idea. You probably never heard the term an umbrella brand. Now, I'm not talking about a kind of a brand like, I'm going to do a book called Umbrella Branding. No, the world does not need that. That's the last thing the world needs is another book about some kind of branding. You have the impacts you hopefully are making in your work right now. Maybe you're maybe you've done it for 20 years, 30 years, and you are known for what you do. But in your heart, there's more. You want to take it higher. You want to do it broader. Maybe you want to do it more connected to spirit, maybe. But there are millions of people that are like that, already successful, and they want to take it higher. There is you're known for, I'll give you 2 examples. One is a doctor who came to me. He had written a book in 1994, and then he wrote 20 more books, all about stress. 1994 was the 14-day stress cure. So he was known for that. And he had in his practice for 40 years, would remove stress from people's lives. He said there was no such thing as stress. He focused on root causes. He didn't give them a little thing that vibrates to their vagus nerve or a little thing they sniff, or something to listen to that lasts a few hours and then they forget about it. He worked on root causes. He was a stress guy. It's like, wow, but there's a whole industry that wants to sell you stuff to help your stress that just is Band-Aids. And he was so frustrated. I was a speaking judge and he was speaking and he said, I'm so frustrated. I'm going to write a book called Stress, the Bullshit Epidemic. And I got him aside and I'm like, Doc, don't do that. They'll have you right where they want you. If you're as good at this as I think you are, you get to go beyond that. There are things in you that there are higher level impacts that you're not even focused on. You might not have even have seen those yet. He went through brand accelerator mastery at Rich Brands. And what came out was he founded an institute for life mastery, teaching children the language and process of life mastery for generations. Of all the people I've ever met, and I've met a lot, he understood that emotions mastery is the foundation of life mastery. And he was root cause, not take this pill and see me in the morning. And so that's the highest level impact he could imagine making. And it will change millions of lives.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't here when he came in. Well, where was it? Well, it was inside of him. He loves to teach. He always wanted to have a school. There are all these pieces, but until the work was done and the language evolved, and we talked about what's the first level of expertise you must be known for, and how do we say, what's the next one, the next one? By the time we got to the third one, we'd named a couple of books and we'd created the Mort Institute for Life Mastery. It's like, and it felt like the most comfortable pair of shoes he'd ever worn.
Mm-hmm.
A guy come to me and say, look, I lost my wife from lupus and I'm not real high on the medical industry. As a matter of fact, it got me looking at alternative medicine. And I realized there's a whole world out there. And I got involved with Daniel Amen at the brain clinic. And I've got certified in having a healthier brain as we age. And most people don't even think it's possible. And then I got involved with this company that helps you build more stem cells in your own blood, because that's what rejuvenates you and manages aging and improves things and repairs things. And now I'm connected to these people who use hybrid mushrooms, and the efficaciousness of these things against certain cancers is unbelievable. Most people don't know this stuff. And when I try to tell people what I do, they go like, they're so confused. You want to hear his umbrella brand? Today, he is the founder of Mindful Longevity, Renew, Rejuvenate, Revitalize, holistic health mentoring that empowers lives.
Mm.
He has his brand, his umbrella brand identity that he steps into like the most comfortable suit he's ever worn. And now he shows up. Now he attracts. He attracts his right fit clients. He attracts people who need him. He attracts people that would have bounced off. I want you to hear that if you're listening to this. If you fall flat, they bounce off. Who loses? They do. And you do. And the world does. Stop it. If you know that in a few months you could nail it, why waste a year? What's that word? It's not what you think. It's the perception you create.
I love that.
Ask your heart.
This has been such an incredible conversation, grounded and faith-filled and just packed with real strategy. And I think it's important because it lets us see that, we need to go deeper when we're looking at our branding and how we're making money and the impact we're wanting to make. And, it has to come from our heart and it has to be aligned with who we are. And I think that's really important. Where can our listeners connect with you? And can you share more about the free brand clarity session?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. At first, as somewhat of a joke, people say to me, Rich, you've been doing this for 49 years. You should be on a yacht or on a beach. And you know where I am, Lisa Marie? You know where I am. I'm on Zoom. Okay. And anyone can go to the richbrands.org. Don't get that messed up. Rich Brands, RICHBRANDS.org website. And right above the homepage, right above the fold on the homepage, it says, talk to Rich for 30 minutes. I don't charge for that. You tell me all about you, and I get to reflect on possibilities I hear in your heart and see, hey, don't come. I'm there. Okay. Okay. So if you're not ready for me to listen to you in person, we do a 60-minute masterclass, 2 of them actually. One of them is called brandfirstorDie.com. And that's what you type in to sign up. It's free. Brand First, FIRST, brandfirstorDie.com. Sign up for it. The next one is probably beginning of November. There's another one where I teach the 4 things you have to have and 7 things that brands do that hurt them, and you got to stop them right now. And that's called an hour of brand power. So you sign up for one of our 60-minute master classes and come, and then you'll be a part of a community, there'll be other people there, and you'll start to hear it. You mentioned the brand clarity session. That's kind of what I call you get on my calendar. And that's, you go to the website, richbrands.org, and click talk to Rich for 30 minutes, or just go to calendly.com/richbrands. Same place. Get on my calendar and let's talk. If you want to send me an email to rich@richbrands.org, tell me all about you. I'm good. That's why I'm here. I get to do this work. You heard my prayer. If you're a person I'm supposed to touch with this gift, you need to let me know you think so. Okay? I mean, it's as simple as that. If you think you've got this great product idea and you're going to make millions of dollars, and I say, well, okay, fast forward, you made the million, then what? And you go, what do you mean I made the million? Don't get on my Zoom. You're not my client. That's a different workshop. That's down the hall. There are guys that'll handle you. Okay? But if you focus on impacts and you know there's more for you, and you want to bake clarity into the way you show up so that you are enjoy doing what you love for more decades. I mean, we say today at Rich Brands, we're evolving individual brands with deep clarity that's often missing, energetic longevity so you can do for what you love for more decades, and divine purpose, because when you reach into your heart and grab those desire for impacts, it's God's work. So
I love it. I love it. For all of the listeners, if you're listening, if you're ready, go there. Okay. Do the thing. And if you're ready to bring clarity and purpose and profit together inside your business, then it's time to book your wealth alignment call with me. We'll look at what's working, what's not, and how to create systems that turn your income into real sustainable wealth, not just bringing in revenue. I'm like Rich here. It's the impact. It's bringing in the things so that you can do what you love and it be sustainable. The link will be in the show notes along with all the links for Rich. So let's align your money with your mission, okay? So that you can have a bigger impact. And until next time, remember, confidence and cash are the ultimate power duo. Go check in with your money. And as always, have a fantastic and wealthy day. Until next time, bye.
thank you, Lisa Marie.